Hello there. Instructors often want to understand how to set up their gradebook. It's a good practice to have at the beginning of the semester to set it up, and then you're able to move forward and enter grades as they occur throughout the semester. So I want to walk you through those steps here today. What we're looking at here is a sample course. I've actually imported the course from a real course. So it already has some activities created within the course, and we're going to use those in our gradebook and organize them according to the gradebook setup. So let's go into the gradebook. So from the course page, what you want to do is go under the course name. You can locate your gradebook area under grades. I click on grades, and it is bringing me to, typically it'll bring you right to the grader report, okay? So here is the grader report, and this is where you'll ultimately be entering grades if you're entering grades manually. And typically you would see students' names listed down here going down the left-hand column, and then be able to enter them into the associated cells. But before we do that, we want to get everything organized. So to do that, you want to go into Setup. And so here we have a look at our gradebook. And like I said, it came with some items already created, and that actually gives us a good baseline from which to get started. First thing I want you to be thinking about is what is the structure of the gradebook? How are things being graded? And to do that, we refer to the syllabus. I have the syllabus pulled up here. And in this syllabus and for this course, it says that there's going to be homework, 2 exams, and a final. And the homework is worth 15%. The exam 1 is 25, exam 2 is 25, and the final is 35. So this provides a great framework for us to get started in setting up our gradebook. So what I want to do is, so this tells me that I have these major categories are being weighted, having weighted items within my course. So right there is the structure. So when we go back over to our gradebook area, first thing I want to do is change the aggregation of the gradebook, because I know I want weighted grades, right? So I go into the top level. The ES250 is the top level, the course level of this course. I go into edit settings, and from here I want to change the aggregation to weighted mean of grades. And when we do that and I save changes, I come back to the course setup page, and ultimately or automatically I see a weights column appear. Now we don't want to change anything yet because we still need to create our categories. It's best to create a structure of categories because then we're going to weight those categories. So to create a category, you scroll down and go into the button Add Category. Okay, so our first category is homework. I'm going to call that homework. I'm going to leave the aggregation at this time. I'm leaving it as simple weighted mean of grades. Okay, save changes, and the homework category appears here. So I want the second category is going to be exam 1. Here it is. Third category is exam 2. Here it is. And the final category is final exam. Okay. Now, you can see I have my categories. Okay. So first off, we're going to call these items here our homeworks. So I want these homeworks to appear in my homework category so that these grades are aggregated to create the homework grade. So I can move the whole batch of them by simply clicking on the select button next the corresponding item. Select, 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 so forth, down. Okay. I can scroll down under Move Selected Items to, choose Homework, and it automatically moves those items over. Now, I need to have a manual grade item. So the scenario is you give the exam in class, you hand out paper exams, and so you'll need to manually grade them and enter the grades into Moodle. So in order to do that, you need a manual grade item. In order to add a grade item, you come down, Add Grade Item, and I call this Exam 1, the grade item. And I want to make sure that the grade item I'm creating ends up in the desired category. So I want to come down here under Grade Category and select Exam 1. Save changes. So now the grade item appears in Exam 1, in the Exam 1 category. I already created manual grade items before we got started here today, and so for Exam 2, I want that now to appear in the Exam 2 category. To do that, I can actually just click on these arrows. It opens up these little icons and lets me drop the Exam 2 into the desired category. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the final exam. Okay, all right. Now you see these items here with the little key. Typically this is indicating a link to an external tool. Often when we add an external tool activity type in Moodle, it creates this a gradebook entry. Sometimes they're graded, sometimes they're not. In this case, I'm going to assume that none of these are actually graded activities, and so they're really just, you know, in here for no reason actually. So I want them to be out of the way. And what I want to do actually is I'm going to create another category. And I'm just going to put non-graded. Okay, I'm going to call that non-graded. Save changes. And so it creates that non-graded category. And I'm going to put all of those external tool activities into that non-graded category. Okay? Very good. And so now they're out of the way, and you'll see in a minute why that makes sense even more. Okay? So here at the top we have the course level, we have the homework category, exam 1, exam 2, and final exam. Now we need to assign our weights, and we do that here in the weights column. So in this case we want to make homework 15%. We want to make exam 1 25%, exam 2 25%, and the final exam was 35. Non-graded is 0. Perfect. Now we want to save our changes. Okay? We are nearly set and with our structure and being able to add grades. I want to draw your attention to this category because it has a number of activities in it in which it will be aggregated, and so to create the homework grade, right? When we imported all of these activities, they had varied max grades. You can see there's different quantities. With the aggregation set on simple weighted mean of grades, these max grades indicate the weight with which each of these activities will carry in the overall homework grade. So simple weighted mean of grades takes into account the max grade and calculates the mean of grades based on that max grade. Okay? If you want them all to be equal, you have some choices. Okay, so if you want to keep the max grade at those levels, you can do that. What you can do is change the aggregation of this individual category. You have the same options here for aggregation. So go into the edit settings of the category, and then drop this down. Now, you could choose weighted mean of grades and save changes, and then simply set the weights per activity depending on how many you have in there. You can set the weights. Another choice you have, so you can manually, you have 10 activities divided by 10, so you have 0.1, make it weighted that way. The other opportunity you have is to change it to natural. Natural would allow, this natural is the sum of the grades. And it also weights them according to the total max grade. And if you want to adjust that, you have the ability to do that by overriding. So say you want this KCL, KVL exercise to be weighted. I'm going to undo this. Let's say you want that to be worth 25% of the homework grade. It will automatically recalculate the remaining grade items in the categories according to that overridden category, overridden weight. Okay? So now you have your structure ready to go. You always want to save your changes. All right, save your changes. You can always go in and add additional grade items if you have them, knowing that it will impact the, the totals or the aggregation, but you have that flexibility. So now you want to go ahead and enter grades. So when I go over here to view, you'll see that, again, the name would be here. You would enter your grades here, or typically in activities that you add in the Moodle course, you would grade them within the activity. So say this is something that students would submit, you would go into that grading interface, grade there, and then it would appear in this grading area. For ease of navigation within the gradebook, I just wanted to show you real quick. You have the ability to control this view. So if I click this right here, it basically collapses those columns down to the total column, so that now you can go ahead and grade those other items in here quickly in terms of a in your view. And like here, these non-graded, I would just collapse this and then it's out of your way and you don't have to worry about it. So now you have sort of a bird's eye view of all your graded items here in your course. Whenever you need to go back into the homework, you can just click on that. There's actually 3 settings. This one shows all the individual items. This one shows the items plus the total of that category. And this one shows just the homework, or just the category total. Okay? When you're ready to actually enter grades in this area, what you need to do is click this button right here, Turn Editing On. And that's where it opens up the fields for you to actually manually enter grades. Okay.